Hello everyone, my name is Yabi. I'm a recent graduate here, electrical engineering, and during my time here, I was a resident advisor. What I found is that students often had a hard time finding off-campus housing roommates, and when they found those roommates were often strangers or their friends, and they weren't compatible in any way. And over time, their grades would drop and they fall into the wrong crowd. I myself found myself in a similar situation when I was completing my co-op and as a young professional. Now, it made it difficult when the landlords were concerned that students would either destroy the property or damage it, right? So now, there's a situation where we have.
Oh, the things are funny, yeah.
Space bar.
Space bar, yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. So there's a situation where we're finding incompatible roommates. So you may be asking yourself, are incompatible roommates really that much of a problem? Well, it just turns out that there's a myriad amount of research that shows that roommate relationship weighs heavily on a student's health and academic success. Now, eCampus has done research to show that roommate conflict ranks amongst the top 5 reasons why students drop out. But how big of a problem is this? How big of a problem is this? What we're finding is that, I think my slide might be out of order, I'm sorry. How big of a problem is this, right? What we're finding is that the National Center for Educational Statistics tell us that in 2020, there will be a growing amount of 23 million students who will roll into the national in universities. Now, 2016, we had 20 million. That's 3 million or 15% more than what we were last year. And what the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development tells us is that universities' on-campus housing construction is not meeting this requirement for us. So now that we know that roommate conflict is a big factor and it ranks amongst the top 5 reasons why students drop out, what are people doing to address this issue? Well, there are 3 services trying to address this issue right now: RoomServe, Roommate, and EasyRoommate.com. Well, I try to use this service myself, and what I found is that they simply just find a roommate for you, right? So looking at the reviews, we decided to look for a better solution. And what we found is a web platform. The solution is a web platform where what you do is that we compare, you think about it, think of Match.com, but instead of looking for your lifetime partner, you're looking for your next roommate, right? So what we do is that the compatibility is based on your characteristics and lifestyle. You find who you're compatible with, we put you into a group. Once we get you into a group, we get you out and we find an apartment for you all on the same platform. Landlords don't have to worry anymore because there's a review system where they could run a check on all the roommates at the same time. Now, going forward, how do we sustain this, right? Now, landlords will place a subscription fee where if they want to post multiple listings, they'll have to pay that fee, subscription fee. The other situation is if they have multiple properties, we can manage it for them on the same platform. Now, we also realize that advertisement will be part of our revenue system. But how do we make all of this happen? This will be free for students, right? But how do we make all this happen? Well, when we think about it, we're going to need a software development tool for my team, as well as a database feed and Stackly. We're moving away from Stackly onto full contacts. We'll be using full contacts to get information from students in terms of Twitter and Instagram, so they can have a better process of matching each other, right? Now, we're planning to outsource some of this work. That's where the software development tool comes in. We know that India is coming up very quickly, and it makes small companies like us look pretty big. So we want to utilize that to get us out the door, and we want to do that in 7 months with a prototype, and later on an MVP, a minimum viable product, and then the final product. Thank you.
So, a couple questions. So there are 2 questions, both about motivation. And so, how do you gave us a kind of a general motivation, but are people going to enter like their information here the way they would in like Tinder, because you kind of need that sort of critical mass? And 2, so that's one question. And the second question is, in a market now where like I've owned properties in Somerville and 100 people show up, or fill out an application, and I almost feel I would never need to fill out pay a subscription, right? Because I know I can pick the people I want out of 100. So how do you motivate these 2 audiences? Because you need that critical mass for this to succeed.
Right. So one of the things that we've done is that we've spoken to students in terms of what their motivation is, right? And they spoke about how hard it is to room with their friends, and it makes it difficult because they can't study. Now we also plan to work with universities so that they can help us get students into this platform. Now in terms of the landlords, I've spoken to a few landlords, and they've also noticed that when roommates are actually coexisting and they like each other, they're more likely to stay there. Rather than if you don't like anyone there, you're gonna move out in a couple of months as soon as you find another place. So they enjoy the fact that, hey, I could find someone who enjoys the roommates, and they're probably more likely to stay there and create and save me the factor of having to find new tenants each time.
What does the name, how does the name come up with, like, what is it?
So Uneefi, when we thought about Uneefi, we thought about it as a place where people that don't really know each other, right, come together and not just share a space, but share a lifestyle.
So that's how you pronounce it, Uneefi?
Uneefi, yes.
Okay.
Yes. We went through, so we have a web platform right now where we're trying to get data from students, and they're basically going to come in and talk about what they would like to see, and so that we could design something for them instead of trying to guess that. Just finding a domain that worked took so long, and Uneefi worked perfectly. And my teammate who's not here today, who's in business and administration, she came up with it, and I was just like, it works perfectly.
So you're initially going after college students, is that correct? From reading your proposal, that's where you want to start?
Right.
Okay.
So we want to start with college students because we realize that's going to build a very big foundation, right? And then once we have that foundation, we have universities behind us. What we want to do is we want to really partnership with PayPal so that landlords like you can do your security deposit right to the platform and receive those rents as well. Today as well, people are either doing checks or money orders or God knows what, right? So that would be really nice to have students just really go into that platform where they can handle everything in one place.
And what would the subscription for the landlord be per month?
Oh, so we haven't figured that out, but we are thinking about $20 per month.
Okay.
There's currently a startup that we actually researched. What they're doing is that they're doing like a lottery kind of thing where landlords pay $25 per lease.
Okay.
And we want to be competitive, and we realize that students are broke, which like I was, so we don't want to charge them.
Yeah.
And also universities, this is something that we're doing, but we didn't put it up here because we're still talking to universities. Universities currently, they outsource some of these research services, and we want to make sure that we have them on our back before we put it out here. So we're currently in the talk with them to help us get to the students.
No, go ahead, I'm good.
Have you approached UMass Lowell? Because imagine that, a year from now, you come back and you pitch us again and you say, oh, and I'm teamed up with UMass Lowell and I've got 1,400 students signed up. All of a sudden, wow, that's pretty interesting. Yeah. And so have you approached the university here?
No, we have not approached the university. One thing that we have done though is we've approached students, and they've given us. So we approached students and we got some data from them in terms of what they would like to see, and a lot of them, I believe about 93% of them said that this is a platform that we use because they want to be concentrated, they want to be around their friends, they want to have the opportunity to go home, concentrate on what they do, and have their friends somewhere else. So we're going to start with UMass Lowell because this is where I started, this is where my team started, and then in Boston, we have 83,000 potential off-campus students, and then from Boston we'll branch out. And as we know, Boston is a big place for education.
Well, Boston University has a critical shortage of space for students. That would be a natural place to look.
So, my thing, I don't know if it's a criticism, but it's just a thought. The name, it just does nothing related any way, shape, or form to, I would not relate this. I think of UNICEF. Honestly, I don't, it doesn't make sense to me. So, like roommate match or something where you're not deliberately stealing a name, like Match.com, but roommate match, something like that. To me, I mean, people spend a millisecond reading something online. So if it says roommate match, okay, I know what that is. Do I want that? Like that's just my, and even if the domain isn't available, you can move letters around to make it work.
Okay.
So that would be my first recommendation.
Messaging.
I just think it's,
Yeah.
it doesn't tell me anything.
All right.
Yeah.
And I need to know right away
Yeah.
And
what you're doing.
That's a good point, because when I looked at that, when you said unify, all right, that kind of makes sense to me, but I read that as Uneefi, and that means
I think we all do.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I didn't know what it was, so,
Yeah, so
It's-
names are critical, especially when you're trying to get someone's attention.
you know,
wanna
or
be
college match, whatever it is, something like that,
All right.
where you go, okay, this is what I wanna accomplish, and then people will be like, okay, I want that.
Anything with match though is gonna be trademark infringement, you can't do that.
Right.
But something along those lines, I mean,
Match it is,
No, if you use that, trust me, though.
Yeah.
So
You'll get
so
a cease and desist.
you had also mentioned.
but that'd be a
young
good day,
professionals.
in my
Sorry?
opinion.
You
Again,
mentioned
that
young
I'd look at things
professionals.
differently. I
Yes.
would
That
say,
got
I'd
me
Yeah,
rather,
very
they noticed
excited because
I made it.
you start at the college level, you
That's how I
get used to your
Except they
hat,
destroy your goodwill.
and it's free.
Yeah.
Young
Really?
professionals, you can charge them.
Mm.
Right.
And so now you have someone who's graduated in electrical engineering from UMass and has a job down in New York City. They can't afford an apartment.
Yeah.
They need to share. How do they find roommates?
Yeah.
Not with the college support system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
completely agree with
I
that.
think you charge them.
Yes.
Because they're flush with money now. They
Yeah,
got
yeah.
their first job and no expenses, so
Yeah.
that,
this was
you
actually
may have a
the last
two-tier
thing, yeah.
product ultimately
Yeah.
because of that. A free one for colleges, students, and then one for pay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the young professional was really the kick in this idea, because when I was here, I found the issue, and when I graduated, what I found was that if I was looking for a roommate and for just 2 people, I might pay $800 a month. But if it's 3 of us, we could bring it down to $650.
Right.
And I was like, that's crazy. Why don't we have something like this? And I realized we also had this issue while I was here. And so when I got together with my team and we spoke about how do we build the push behind this, the population and motivation, we thought about starting at the school level. We could get young people involved, getting a bunch of people together just to have ideas about how do you think you're going to find the next match.
But you could even simplify it by just, when they sign up, get their Twitter, their LinkedIn, and their
That's key.
Facebook, and
Yeah.
have it all integrated,
Right.
so that I go in and I go, okay, this guy, yeah, no, I don't, this
Yeah,
guy's
so
not.
that's what full
for
contract
me.
is for.
Yeah,
It has a monthly fee of $60,
Yeah.
and we plan to implement that as well. Yeah.
because that has a value, it's all in one platform, you can look at multiple people without having to go do your own research.
Right, right, and that's something that we found when I was using these other services. It was just a little sketchy. There were people on there with no background, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do here. But I have a question for you guys. What do you guys think is the biggest risk of this idea?
I'm concerned about from what you wrote,
Yeah.
the conflict resolution piece with, you said that you were gonna be part of, they could pay online, and you'd also have a work order system for submitting what the issues are with the property. So what happens if they don't pay?
Yeah.
Who's responsible?
Yeah.
And what if the work orders aren't being addressed?
So in terms of paying for work orders?
Well, the fact that you're doing this through a website,
Yeah.
you know, I want to make sure you're free and clear from all this.
Yeah.
You're offering a service to collect the rent to give to the landlord, but what if they don't pay? Is the landlord coming to you or to them? So
Yeah, so that's why we want to partner with PayPal. We don't want anything to go through us, and we realize PayPal has a big foundation, and that could really help us get to where we want to be.
But you also have the work order concept in here where the rentors could say, I got a problem, my hot water doesn't work.
Right, yeah, so.
And what happens if, so landlords.
No, I think you're onto something. I mean, there's some assumption of risk when you place yourself in the middle.
Okay.
You're making yourself potentially responsible for paying the rent. As a landlord, I'm just gonna come see you, where's my rent?
Okay.
And that's a good, my other major concern is you listed a bunch of competitors, so kudos on the research that you've done. It's differentiating, right?
Right.
You try to address it in your write-up, but that's gonna be tough.
Yes.
There's a lot, you had a lot of different competitors out there. I went to that Ruby site, that was an interesting site.
Yeah, yeah. So I think Rumi is it's definitely going to be a competitor later on in our timeline,
Right.
Because they don't deal with the university. But definitely when we get to that point where we're talking to young professionals, we're definitely going to have to look at Rumi and how they're real competitive.
But do you see their name though, their name, it's,
Rumi? Yes.
right, no, I mean,
Yeah.
right there, I know exactly what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Instant message.
yeah.
And if I can take another stab at answering your question on the risk, you have 2 businesses
hearing you should just get rid of one. One business is matching roommates. That's transaction oriented. You
Right.
match them up, you take their money, you're done. You don't have to worry about the poop show that happens 6 months later.
Right.
Then you have the service business, that is a freak show. And you don't want to remotely be involved.
I would avoid that
Like,
too.
Yeah.
we rent 150 times, and I'm part of an organization, we own 175 units. And the collecting the rent isn't the issue, it's the resolution crap. Like, you snap the door off the stove, your dog threw up. Just don't do that.
Okay.
Absolutely, don't
Yeah,
waste your time.
There's no money to be made.
You won't even need a
addressing
phone if
those
you don't
issues.
do that.
There's no money in the
And then the
service
second,
business.
the second challenge of risk is, you need a critical mass of students. If there are 22 students on here, they're gonna be like,
There's gonna be no match.
weird looking ex-porn stars, and you're just gonna be like, oh, I'm not going on here. But if you get 1,000 kids from which to look, that's why something like Tinder works, right? You could just swipe for all night.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna find someone, no matter what you are interested in. Not that I use Tinder, I'm too old for it, but you need a critical mass.
Okay, well, he needs major urban areas to launch this in, so he
Yeah.
has selected
Correct.
cities around the
Yeah.
country.
So I'll get off my soapbox.
Thank you.
A little more on your matching system?
So the matching system will be based on characteristics and lifestyle. So let's say, for example, you have a crazy schedule where you're never home at night. Or let's say you are home at night. That's the only time that you get to study. Instead of finding somebody who's going to be making noise during that time, you find somebody who also fits that profile. So you can ask questions in terms of, what do you do? And we want to make it really simple. A friend of mine that's part of this group, this team, is on OkCupid, and he was complaining about how long it takes to just set up a profile. They have all these questions that they ask him. And so what we want to do is we want to minimize the questions and help the students answer those questions over time. So to sign up, the questions really won't be that extensive, but over time we'll put.
Well, there's a bunch of
those
different
questions.
ways to do the matching, and certainly you need to know about schedules and some of those other things like that.
Right.
But I can imagine, the personality tests and characteristics and stuff would be valuable as well. I think it's going to be important to making your system successful, finding that right combination.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, and as you're leaving, because you're out of time, but an interesting source of data is at October and November, if you called the housing department of 10 or 20 universities, they address this issue every year, and they have online forums that say, tell me, do you like loud music? Do you drink? Do you party? Are you religious? Are you this or that? And they'll tell you, these are the 10 most important questions.
Yeah.
Or people lie on the forums, and here's, you could find out
Right.
what you need, and that would be very powerful.
Yeah, all right.
Just do it
Thank
after
you.
the semester
Thank
starts. So
you.
Yeah,
good
there's
work.
experts out there.
Yeah.
Thank you
All
guys.
right, thank
Nice
you.
going.
Thank you.